And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Tuesday, May 10th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. It's Tuesday and our program is presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And I want to remind you first of all today that it is Tuesday, May the 10th, and the blood drive will be at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. This, of course, is at 1411 Badua Parkway. The Red Cross blood bus will be there, and of course the American Red Cross blood drive at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org and enter Vanderbilt Wilson County to schedule an appointment. Maybe it's not too late, but even if it is, this is a reminder for those of you who may have already signed up not to forget your appointment today. When it comes to emergencies, time and expertise matter. Since becoming part of the Vanderbilt health system, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital now provides Vanderbilt-level care to every patient that walks through the emergency room doors and beyond. Over the last few years, Vanderbilt has invested millions in Wilson County, including more than $1 million to support a new ambulance base and life flight grounded ambulance located at the hospital. This investment also helps support Wilson County's Emergency Management Agency in hopes of reducing response time for all patients. Vanderbilt University Medical Center's Department of Emergency Medicine is nationally recognized for its leadership in training and research. Patients can be confident that the Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital Emergency Department upholds the same standard of care. Transitioning patient care responsibilities to Vanderbilt's emergency medicine physicians reflects the hospital's strong commitment to the citizens of Wilson County. And it is one more way that Vanderbilt is prepared to respond quickly and professionally to critical and timely needs of Wilson County citizens. All right, Mr. Justin Beasley is in the hot seat here this morning.
Very hot this morning.
We'll call
I'll tell you what.
How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing
Happy
well.
Tuesday.
It is good to see you, and always good to have somebody to talk to. I think we're in sync this month. You had a board.
I think we're going to be out of sync next month, though.
Well, we might be. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
It's smart, man.
You had a Board of Commissioners meeting last night, so we have something to talk about there.
Absolutely. I would say the biggest thing that came away from that meeting is really our commissioners in their opening comments recognizing the fire department. If I could have brought Jamie Luffman, I would have, but I've asked him, I think, 2 consecutive times to be on this show, and he might have to fill in for me in the future. But their ISO improved officially. We've known for a little bit, but the exact number came back last week. It went from a 5 to a 3, which a 1 is superb. A 10 is where we started at as a fire department just 8 years ago. And really, you know, that jump from a 5 to 3 wasn't just the jump, the work that was done since we got a 5. It really started even 2 or 3 years before we even declared ourselves a fire department in 2013. So this is a more than a decade-long worth of work to get us to a 3. Now, if you're at home in Mount Juliet and you're wondering, what does this matter to me? Well, it's going to save you on homeowners insurance. Those new premiums after August 1, I think the insurance provider can check that, but it would be due diligence by the homeowner to let them know that that has changed from a 5 to a 3 with whoever provides your insurance. That could save you up to 3, even 7% a month on your homeowner's insurance, which is not only do we save lives and fires, but we save you money in your pocket too.
Well, I know we've talked about this before, and they would never, I'm not sure whether they ever actually mentioned what they were really thinking it was going to be, but I could tell there was some great expectations there.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, adding, Joey Edwards on board and his expertise and the training that he's able to provide and set in place, and also just be another set of hands to Jamie Luffman. You know, a part of this is community risk reduction, which is being at big events, telling people about fires, how to, limit them at your house and how to fight them if you're in the house, and also meeting with HOAs. We had one at Willoughby Station a couple of months ago. It's those little things that really add up, on top of us having a new fire station coming up in May or June, and also more fire apparatuses and more into the budget to make sure that we keep up with the growth in Mount Juliet.
Is there any reason to ever think it would go lower than a 3?
I would say so. I mean, I don't think we're happy with a 5. I don't think we're happy with a 3. We're happy right now with 3, but we have to work very hard to maintain that. It just doesn't stay there. Any other department can certainly go up in a number, which is not the way you want to go. Well, our goal is 1 for sure.
Okay, I was wondering about when you get another fire station online, if that would have a bearing on it, and maybe.
I'm not an expert, but I'd imagine so. More fire apparatuses, better response time, more community engagement, more feet on the ground as far as having firefighters, our firemen and women that do such a great job. That can only help the number for sure. So we'll talk to you when we get to a 1.
Well,
because it's going to happen.
I guess this was not only a point of discussion, but a point of community and city pride last night to be able to announce this and to discuss it at the meeting.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge deal. Again, this is something that me and Jamie and Joey have been discussing for a while. And, on your iPhone, it's like iOS, which is the update. I often refer to it as the iOS when it is the ISO rating. And for it to go down to a 3, I was more excited for the hardworking men and women that work so hard for that. It's a goal. You don't always get it. We made a lot of strides. The number could have came back a 4, and I would have still thought as highly of our fire department. But this shows our community what they're doing and what we are doing to make sure that we're providing all the immediate services that they need.
What else happened at last night's meeting?
So we approved the budget basically for the 50th anniversary Celebrate MJ. And I think I was a tease about a month ago on here. I can say it because Scott Hefner mentioned it at the Board of Commissioners meeting last night. Daryl Worley will be our headliner. He'll play from, I believe, 7 to 8:30, or it's either 7:30 to 9. We've been meeting every Tuesday with the parks and city leaders just to kind of iron out the details. We're going to have inflatables. We're going to have water rides. We're going to have a ton of food trucks. Ton of live entertainment, on the stage. We're going to give out some awards. We're going to give out some hot air balloon rides. It's going to be quite the experience. July 16th from 4 to 9, you're going to want to be at Charlie Daniels Park. So
what day of the week is that?
Oh, Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Saturday afternoon and evening.
Yes, sir. So everybody will be back from dead period where they go on vacation, where the high schoolers have to return to get back to, practicing sports. You won't have your mind on school yet because you will late July. It's right in that sweet spot, July 16th. And I'll even give a tease as well. We don't want to just do this the 50th year, the 60th, 75th, the 100th. We want to have this an annual event. So determining how many of you show up, which we're preparing for as many people as the park will hold to show up. We certainly hope to do this event year-round. Certainly, we got to pass money in the budget for this to happen, but I think it's a worthwhile investment with where Mount Juliet is as a city to have a lot of excitement around it.
How much are you investing in this?
So I think right now it's a little more than $25,000, but you got to think about it. A lot of that money might not even come from the park's budget. It might come from sponsors. A lot of people are rallying around this in the community. We're working with a lot of people in the community to make sure that this is a great event, and they want their name on T-shirts and yard signs and the logo that we present. So it's going to be a great event that's going to be year round. Daryl Worley. Right. Daryl Worley. Yeah, we got some pull in Mount Juliet. Don't sleep on us, Coleman.
Well, and you said $25,000.
I think so, around 25 or 30.
But
yes,
it might be less than that, depending on how many sponsors you get to offset maybe the city's appropriation.
And that's money that you can set forth for next year and just keep it rolling and rolling and rolling. It's not going to be a huge investment from us. Now we have to have that up front to know what we can do and what our commissioners approve that we can do, which is up to their discretion. But again, we're going to have a lot of sponsors to where a lot of money is going to come in to help us front that bill.
All right. Well, that's two things from last night's meeting. I hope you got another one or two.
I think so.
Well, we'll save them.
We can fill 15 minutes
after the break. Justin Beasley, the Public Information Officer for the City of Mount Jewett, is with us here on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:13. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford, and that regular oil change, $28.95, up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, $16.73. West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's off to a pretty good start right now on 24. It's heavy as expected coming up through the Hickory Hollow area. All the traffic coming out of Rutherford County right now, headed towards Nashville. 65 southbound. That wreck may have some injuries there just before you get down to Trinity Lane. 3400 block of Murfreesboro Pike. That wreck also has injuries. Princess Hot Chicken is now hiring at both locations. If you haven't been there in a while, check out that menu at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
As I mentioned before, and I want to remind you again, the American Red Cross Blood Mobile will have a blood drive at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital today from 11 to 5. And if you've signed up to give blood, don't forget, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS and see if there's still room for you if you would like to do it and haven't signed up yet. Well, Justin, what else from last night's meeting?
So nothing that went into effect or that has changed, but something that has definitely inquired minds, especially our commissioners have talked with residents in their districts about, is the use of food trucks. I don't know how much experience you have with food trucks. I see them out and about. I usually don't eat out a lot, so I would probably be the worst person to ask with this. But a lot of the times we're seeing food trucks up and around the city at special events where they're allowed at the parks, which is great. It keeps people there. They have food options and whatnot. But somebody you always have to remember are the brick and mortar stores that got Mount Juliet to where they are, that might be set up around Charlie Daniels Park or in the Providence Marketplace area. We're trying to figure out a way, and we haven't messed with our ordinance any. We're just trying to get feedback right now of what that looks like as far as protecting the brick and mortar, but also promoting the food trucks, and hopefully a high tide raises all ships. Now, you can understand a brick and mortar in Mount Juliet maybe being upset with a food truck coming from Metro Nashville, parking, not paying their permit, parking close to an establishment, obviously bringing in a lot of dough, and then it hurts the brick and mortar, and then they leave and take their money back to Nashville. So we're trying to figure out a system to where, we have a permit fee, and we have one right now, but say, for example, Jackson Hills, they were to have a food truck. You're not allowed to do that where you have individual sales, where I'm making a sale on you, Coleman, if you want to buy some ice cream. The only way the HOA can have a food truck is if they pay for it, and that is called a catering event. So they can't do individual sales. They pay for the whole, for example, ML Rose food truck, and they're free burgers for everybody that comes out of the HOA. Now, the argument there is a lot of people, especially with families in these new subdivisions, love the food trucks and the convenience of, hey, we can go to the pool, grab a food truck, and come home, where you weren't going out and probably getting food anywhere. You're just going to heat up something at home. But it also hurts the brick and mortars where you think, well, I can't get to that spot because I am a brick and mortar. So it's like we're trying to figure out, and it's up to the commissioners, that they're the ones that ultimately have the votes of finding that happy balance between the two, because our mayor brought up a good point last night. As far as Amazon is concerned, with sales tax and where it comes from, with where you order it, legislation lacked about a decade before it caught up with that new type of, instead of going to Walmart, you just get it online. Well, now we're trying to get ahead of the curve with the food trucks, because they're here to stay. It's just the new way, especially with millennials, that they want food truck. They don't want to sit down and wine and dine and probably pay a tip. They just want to get a food truck in their subdivision, at a church, at a big event. So we're trying to figure out a legislation. Again, right now we haven't changed anything, but we're just trying to get a lot of feedback from everyone involved, because we know there's a lot of opinions when it comes to that.
Well, I guess a lot of people's opinions would count because they do vote.
Right.
But really, you make, I think there's a strong point made for, as you call them, the brick and mortars, the established people, and then especially if it's somebody from out of town, another county.
Yeah,
they ought to. They have to ante up a little bit.
Right, and they right now I think they have to pay a $10 permit fee, but there's only a couple of special events that go on, and it has to be on commercial property. It can't be in residential. But what we're seeing, I haven't seen it myself, but what we're hearing from other food truck owners is that somebody is coming in from out of the county and setting up shop, and really it's not that we haven't done anything about it, but it's hard to enforce, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I mean, to have somebody in the planning commission working weekends, rolling around the neighborhoods, making sure this food truck's on the food truck list is not something we need to invest our resources in, but we need to find a way to better police it and make sure that we're, again, protecting our brick and mortars that got us here. Because if you look at our history, and Kenny Martin has said this before, the ordinance and the way it's set now was because we would have new brick and mortars show up in Mount Juliet way back when, and then we would have a food truck that would sell the exact same thing with a different brand name set up right beside it. Of course, you're going to lean towards, we're going to protect the brick and mortar. You get out of here, Right. So maybe we need to change it, maybe we don't. But I'm sure our elected officials will take into everything account. But we've had a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce where we invited public to speak. We had a work session last night where it was just going to be a work session where the commissioners speak. We instead made that a staff-led event where citizens could speak on that topic. We got two different opinions, but that's what we're having the meetings for.
One other thing I want to ask about that: do you know, is this something that is being considered in other places? Are there some others you could copy, maybe, or at least arrange something similar to what they might be doing?
Yeah, and I forget the example, but I think a lot of people mentioned in the first meeting of the Chamber of Commerce what they do in Gallatin. Mm-hmm. I can't quote it because we've had a lot of discussions on this, and it just goes back and forth. But other cities are a little bit more established in this, which is fine. And that, sometimes that's unique to their county and unique to their situation. But we're certainly going to look and see what has worked for other people. As I always say, it's a copycat league. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If it's working somewhere else, it's going to work for you. Just put that into your legislation and move on. So it's fascinating to think about, though, right. Coleman.
Well, speaking of moving on, let's move on to something else right now. What else last night?
So Project Jolene on first reading got passed. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. It is a commercial use, 7 commercial out parcels on Golden Bear. Their major tenants are going to be 2 warehouses. That is next to Amazon where that project proposal is. Of course, it'll need to go through on second reading, which will be in 2 weeks. So that's kind of a fun project to talk about. Other than that, we're just rocking and rolling. We got the budget coming up, as most city and townships do. So be busy meetings upcoming.
Going to ask you about that. Where are you in the budget process? Do you know? I guess some preliminary work surely has been done by now. Here almost to the middle of May.
Yeah, department heads have met with our finance director, Dana Heyer, and have got them approved, I believe, by the city manager. So now I think in the next couple of weeks we'll have some work sessions to just kind of understand a little bit more of what each department head is asking for and why, and then it gets on the Board of Commissioners meeting and has to pass those two readings, and then it comes into effect.
What is inflation going to do to the budget? It's got to be thought about.
Oh, it's more than thought about. It's in there. And I think that's the blessing, too. Gas really went up about 2 months ago, and one of the local news stations did a story on it. And I think Rocky Lee was the one that said, he's maybe doubled his gas budget because he's got to, cut the grass in the city. And not only the city, but if the state's lacking in a certain area, Kenny Martin's very proactive to say, hey, we got new businesses coming in. We got people choosing Mount Juliet. If the state's not going to get to, that part of, cutting grass, we'll do it. So it's something that, is added extra responsibility. And the gas is, I saw it $4.15 yesterday. So if it's not in the budget now, it definitely will be. It's gonna definitely take an effect.
Well, that's one thing, but just about everything, if it's moving anyway at all, it's going up. It's not going down. I don't know anything that's going down.
No, if you do, let me know. But it's that's the thing. There's nothing to freak out about. Our city manager, our commissioners, we are very frugal with our spending, with our city hall, just everything. So we are prepared for such a time as this where things are going up. We don't spend money loosely, and I think city services can't stop. That's all there is to it. We're going to still provide it, and we're going to provide it in a responsible way and figure out how to save in other areas.
There comes a time when taxes have to be raised. Is that on the board at all, as far as you know?
As far as I know, it's not. I know the last time it was up, we lowered it from 16 to 11 cents. And fortunately, as I tell people as the PIO, I just hit the send button. I don't make any of the important decisions, so
right,
that's
but
up to our
think
commissioners.
That lowering the tax rate was because of the change in the property values, the reappraisals that had taken place, because the law does not allow you to gain more money through reappraisal. So if the reappraisal's up, the tax rate has to go back. But at least it's it's a wash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm learning more about that as we go, but again, we're prepared for such a time as this. We've put a lot of money back, and we'll be just fine. There's no need to panic from anybody. We'll rock and roll.
That's good to hear. What's going on recreation wise now? Of course, this celebration that would come under the heading of recreation, I suppose. But
Yes, sir.
50-year celebration is a one-day event, going to be a big one, and maybe every year an annual thing, which sounds good. Bring the community together. More than once a year. Your fireworks on the 4th of July usually do that. And
Right.
I don't know what else, but I know you're still interested in parks and recreation.
Absolutely. And Rocky Lee's been a great resource for me, great guy to hang out with, and maybe I'll bring him by here one Tuesday morning. I think he always listens, so we'll give a shout out to Rocky Lee, who does a fantastic job as our parks director. We're going to have actually food trucks come and set up from 4 to 8 before our movie in the park. Which we're going to have a new name for this year. That's going to go from June to October. Moving the park's a great way to get your toddlers out and come and watch a movie at the parks. Also at Mundy Park on the south side of town, we're working on pickleball courts and tennis courts. Temporarily, it's closed a little bit of the park as far as the trail, but there's a prize at the end. In October, we'll have pickleball courts. And if you know anything about pickleball, just go to a community center wherever you live. You'll see how big of a craze pickleball is with the younger generation and the older generation. They can't get enough of it. Monday through Friday, sun up to sundown, they're playing pickleball.
Rather than bingo.
I guess so. Yep. I don't play either, but I'll eventually that'll call my name, both of them.
We got 2 minutes. Anything else on your mind this morning?
I will say this on a personal note. I think Jamie Luffman and also Chief James Hambert might pay you a visit here soon. I also talked to Kenny Martin, and he mentioned maybe coming with me one morning. So I'm going to pull his arm a little bit. My wife is 39 weeks pregnant on Thursday, and they're going to induce us on Friday. So you might not see me for a little bit, which is a blessing because you'll see some higher esteemed professionals in here.
I cannot remember the last time Kenny Martin was in here. Now, he's been on the phone with us a few times. I don't know when I ever saw him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get him here. You hold me to it. I'm not gonna make a promise, but I'm gonna work hard to. He misses you more than you think. So I'm gonna. He just mentioned you yesterday, so I'm gonna try to hold him to it and bring him here one day. I just need you to be sitting down and not standing up and fall over. I need you to keep your composure when you see Kenny Martin here. All right.
Well, Kenny has a style and a manner of his own, and
He does.
And one of those words to describe him, I think, would be frugal, and that's putting it mildly.
That's putting him. I think
we won't call him stingy, but
Ray Justice was quoted, our commissioner, in the latest National Business Journal, which I failed to mention, on Mount Juliet. We actually made the cover, so get your subscription. I'll try and get you a copy. Ray Justice called Kenny Martin the cheapest man in the face of Tennessee, in Tennessee. So, and that's putting it mildly too. He's in a category of himself, and he would take that as a compliment.
all right. We'll stop on that this morning. Justin, thanks for your visit. We'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Thank you.
And our program, of course, part one of Coleman and Company, presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. A break here and more coming up on FM 98.9.
And at 7:29, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford and get a battery installed on most vehicles, $134.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They're trying to clear up this wreck. Everybody's looking at it. Vietnam vets going westbound here at Conference Drive. It's already heavy through here. All that did was aggravate the situation. Again, on Vietnam vets coming inbound to 65. That's still running a little bit heavy. 3500 block of Murfreesboro Pike, trying to clean up that crash. Thompson Lane at South Lake should be out of there in a few minutes. Some radar. I-40 coming through parts of Kingston Springs this morning as all that traffic comes in from Dixon County. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, it's home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Yes, they have other flavors. Check them out, GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
At Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, world-class care is a heartbeat away. In fact, we offer the same world-class attention Middle Tennessee has come to rely on from a Vanderbilt Health hospital. Supported by over 200 specialties, an expanded emergency department staffed with Vanderbilt Health physicians 24/7, and greater investments in life-saving technologies and care. It's just one more way we're making healthcare personal.
Lots of sunshine sticking with us today. Temperatures starting out in the 60s and climbing towards a high of 84 degrees this afternoon. Wednesday and Thursday looking just as nice. We are keeping an eye on a chance for thunderstorms this weekend.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company. All right, we are ready for part two, and Sean Dozier walks in to talk about Hearthside Senior Living. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Nice to have you with us as always, and I hope things are going well.
Things are going well. We had a nice evening last night at Ed and Susie James' house. We
Oh, you were over there with
I was over
amongst the
there
others.
with I guess I'm surrounded by Rotarians here. You were Aquinas too, but were you a
was.
Rotarian as well?
Huh?
Were you a Rotarian as well?
No, I've been in Alliance. I'm still
Alliance.
Alliance.
Oh, okay.
I'm still Alliance.
Well, anyway, we had a nice evening at the James's house. We had a Kiwanis mixer, and it's always nice to be over there, that big porch, and everybody was out there on that porch and having a nice time. We're trying to attract new members and trying to grow, and we are growing, and it was a nice evening. So I appreciate them hosting that. Her and Chelsea had a great event.
Well, I have been privileged to be in the house that they have really.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it is. It is so beautiful.
It's like a museum. It's like a museum.
I was amazed the first time I saw all that they had done inside there.
That reminds me, I need to take, we go on monthly trips with our seniors, particularly in the independent living.
Yep.
And it would be nice to take them through that house. They would really enjoy that. There's a lot of history in that house.
Yeah, a lot of history.
We do that. Coleman, we just don't sit around at Hearthside. We go and do and have fun. And our folks in our independent living, we're every month we go somewhere. This month we're going to the Tennessee State Museum and Farmers Market downtown, and we're going to enjoy a day out next week. So every month we try to do something with them, and they always enjoy that. And then our folks in our assisted living, we're starting to get back out, going to restaurants and things like that, going to Walmart, Dollar General. They like to get out. You know, when you're in assisted living, many times you don't have a vehicle, so you depend upon others to either bring you something or take you out. And so we try to get out once a week now and try to take people out and do things. And I think they really appreciate that.
Well, no doubt they do, and that somebody cares.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
can spend some time.
Well, that's the thing, you know. After 2 years of being isolated, you know, it seems like that was a long 2 years, you know. So it's nice to be able to get out, and people stop by and see folks, and it's great to see. When we've had a lot of new people move in lately, and anytime new people move in, you have new guests because they have friends and they have family members. So it's really picked up a lot, and it's great to see everybody back in the building visiting.
Well, let me tell everybody, since I didn't in the beginning, that Sean Dozier is Executive Director of Hearthside Senior Living, and our regular listeners know that. But if you're not familiar with Hearthside, you might want to become familiar. And it's located at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North and has not only assisted living community, but that retirement community.
It's a beautiful campus, you know, right there in the heart of Lebanon. We're close to the Jimmy Floyd Center, close to the Don Fox Park, close to the City Hall, close to your favorite place to go, which is
Lebanon Senior Citizen
Lebanon Senior
Center.
Citizen Center. So,
especially when we're playing cornhole.
I heard you lost the other day.
I've lost several times. Last time I won was December, I think.
What's going on with you? You losing your edge a little bit?
There's some good players over there. They usually play better than I do.
Well, that is a selling point, you know, when people call and say, "Hey, where are you located?" Because a lot of people don't know they're moving in town or moving into the county. You know, that's a selling point. You know, we may not have all the amenities there on campus, but you're very close to everything that you need.
Well, if when it's time for a helping hand, that's one of your slogans, and I think you really live by that. That's what it's all about.
That's what the assisted living is all about. It truly is a ministry at heart, and we try to fulfill that every day. And it's you know, we don't always live up to it, but we do our best. And I tell you what, as I keep saying, we're down to 2 rooms. So if you're interested in the assisted living, this is a good time to do it. We always have transitions, but I tell you what, if you are needing assisted living or even thinking about it, you know, in the future, we would love to be an option that you would consider.
One other thing that we mention this most of the time, but I just want to say it again today. You are locally owned and managed. And
locally owned and managed. That's a big deal. You know, we don't have to go up the corporate ladder to make decisions. You know, you just come in my office, or you see Jan, or you see Betty, or you see Cindy Huffines at the nurses station, and we take care of it right there.
Got a Hearthside hello?
Well, it's Nurses Week. Big
Week.
Big deal around communities like ours. So I want to say thank you, and I want my Hearthside hello to go to our 3 nurses, and that's Cindy Huffines, Karina Mora, and Sarah Vantrease, 3 of the best people that you would ever meet. And they really are the heart of Hearthside. So I want to say thank you to them, and I want to say how much I appreciate them publicly as I hopefully I do privately. But they're 3 great people.
Remembered all 3 of them this morning.
Yeah, you know, I have hard times with names sometimes, so I'm glad I did too. I had to memorize.
Well, just wait 20 years, it'll be a little hard.
It is. But anyway, thanks to all they do. They're fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being with us. See you next time.
See you next week.
All right. That is Sean Dozier again. He's Executive Director of Hearthside Senior Living at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. They have a phone number that we give out because it tells when they began, 615-443-1994. That's how long it's been there. Sean hadn't been there that long. Well, I want to welcome Scott Benson this morning. He is the Director of Schools for the Lebanon Special School District, and he is live in studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
And I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing great.
I'll tell you what, you look like $1 million today. That's a good-looking outfit.
I put on my good tie for you today. How about that?
And by the way, can you believe the Reds have won 2 in a row?
You know, I don't keep up with it like you, but I hadn't heard that. I'd heard they were on a big streak going the opposite direction previously. What's their record?
They were 5-22.
Oh wow!
I guess they're 6 or 7-22 now, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got a long way to go.
Long way to go to get back. Long way from the big red machine back in the 70s.
They did do well last night. And I hope you did well last night.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did. Had a board meeting last night. Not a lot of business. We had several recognitions, but school's going well. We're getting close to the end, and
Yeah,
we're excited.
it's going to be different this year as school comes to a close, because it means you're coming to a close in this phase of your career. And today and in June, I guess we'll kind of wind it up. I don't know, I have no idea what you're going to do, but I hope it's something where maybe you and I come in contact with each other, or you even get to be on the radio every once in a while.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad deal, Coleman. I enjoy talking to you every month, and in between when I see you as well. But yeah, that's sort of sneaking up on me, being quite honest with you. Still,
But you can't have, I know there are things to do at the end of school, but it can't be the daunting task, or you're not greatly concerned, I don't think, about what's going to happen next year, because you're not going to be there. You don't have your hand in the bucket of water stirring, or won't have.
I've been accused of saying that a time or two. What do y'all want to do? I won't be here. But you
do have plans.
Do have plans. Yeah, gonna take some time off for sure at the beginning and relax a little bit. But then I'm gonna get into a few things that'll be extremely flexible with my time. But allow me to stay busy a little bit and make a little money at the same time. So I'm excited about that.
And I think we've got an appreciation thing coming up for you, too.
I think we do. That's what I've been told.
That's not a secret.
That's not a secret.
Good.
That's what I've been told.
I hope to be there.
I hope you can be there.
All right. You want to get into last night?
Sure. Yeah. We had a regular scheduled board meeting last night for May, actually the last board meeting that we will have before the end of the school year. And we met at Winfrey Bryant Middle School. We typically do that in May, Coleman, because that's when we recognize the paraprofessionals of the year as well as the teachers of the year, and we give them a gift and recognize them in front of the Board of Education. So that's always a big deal. We're very pleased to do that. We're honored to do that. Brag on those employees that do so much for us. I'd like to mention some names if I could. I always like mentioning those.
I'm sitting over here wondering.
Yeah, wondering who they are. Yeah, so our paraprofessionals of the year in all of our schools. From Byers Dowdy, we had Maria Magana. From Castle Heights, we had Christina Mosley. From Coles Ferry, Michelle Reeve. From Jones Brummett, Jesse McKay. From Sam Houston, Mary Sipe. From Walter J., Denise Vermeulen. And from Winfrey Bryant, Jennifer Jones. And again, the paraprofessionals of the year in the Lebanon Special School District, and they just do wonderful work for our district and our kiddos and our families, and we appreciate them and happy to recognize them. Our teachers of the year, I've probably mentioned them before. I got to celebrate with them just a few weeks ago over at Cumberland with the Wilson County Teacher of the Year banquet, so that was exciting, but we recognized them in front of the board last night. So we had from Byers Dowdy, Lisa Mullis. From Castle Heights, Lisa Long. From Coles Ferry, Judy Cummings. From Sam Houston, Patty Anderson. From Walter J., Rachel Dotson. And from Winfrey Bryant, Jessica Klaus. So a great group of teachers. Coleman, I'll make one note here for you. Judy Cummings, who was the Teacher of the Year at Coles Ferry Elementary, this is her 53rd year to teach school.
I recognize some of those names.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. People active in the community and big in our schools.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen Judy Cummings a number of times.
I'm sure you have, yeah. But 53 years, so that's, and she's still going strong. She's got more energy than a lot of the young teachers that are coming in these days. But doing well, and we're really proud of that entire group.
Well, anything else from last night's meeting? We got a couple of minutes before we take a break.
Got a couple of minutes for the break. That's good. We have time for this. So every year about this time, we also grant tenure to a handful of teachers, and we had teachers last night that we did that with. And tenure, few eligibility requirements that teachers have to meet. They first of all have to have a degree. Secondly, they have to have a teaching license. Thirdly, they have to go through a probationary period of 5 years with the school district. And lastly, they have to, their last 2 years of their probationary period, they have to have LOE scores, evaluation scores, of either above expectations or significantly above expectations. So on a scale of 1 to 5, that would be a 4 or a 5. And if they have below that, we don't grant those teachers tenure. So they also have to be recommended by their principal for rehire this year. And then I recommend to the board that we grant these teachers tenure, and it was approved last night unanimously. So I'll mention those names maybe right before the break. Tenured teachers now in the Lebanon Special School District from Byers Dowdy. We have Stephanie Jernigan and Morgan Wolf. From Castle Heights, Kelsey Edwards, Sheila Poole, and Tricia Roberson. And from Coles Ferry, Jenna Anderhold, Chelsea England, and Haley Pitcock all received tenure last night from the Lebanon Special Board.
Tenure, if I understand it right, I think a few years ago, before the change was made, it was just almost an automatic thing. You didn't really have to do anything except just not do anything bad.
That's correct. That's just be rehired and almost show up. Yeah,
But
it
there's
happened
a lot more
automatically.
to it now.
A lot more to it now. You have to earn that, and you have to have the scores to earn that as well. So yes,
So it
different.
is quite an
That
accomplishment.
changed back in 2011, I think.
Okay. Okay, time for us to take a break. Scott Benson, Director of Schools, is with us, and more coming up on Coleman Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:44, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota, Lamprey, quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty, extremely durable and well-built. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still busy out here, you would expect, coming down 109 there in Wilson County, trying to get up on the interstate. Traffic looks good on the interstate. It's just heavy as expected on I-40 through Mount Juliet. Trying to clear a wreck, 13,000 OHB, that's South Nashville. And 65 starting to get a little bit heavy coming past Vietnam Vets. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. Check out all they got at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
The refreshing cool after coming in from a hot summer day. The perfect temperature to kick off your shoes and relax with a good book. When the weather heats up, a new Rheem AC system will surround your family in total comfort. Are you feeling it? Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Coleman Company, thanks for joining us, and as always, thanks to Scott Benson, Director of Schools, Lebanon Special School District, for being with us. Let's pick up anything else from last night's meeting you want to share.
Yeah, so I'll share some information. That was, I almost left this off. This is a pretty big deal. The only other business requiring action last night by the board, we made some modifications to our middle school dress code. Coleman, I don't know if you're aware, but there's quite a history with our middle school dress code. We've had it for years and years. It's been very restrictive, actually, as far as colors and no jeans and those sorts of things. And so over the years, been lots of talk about that, and we've made adjustments, modifications over the years to give a little more flexibility. Well, last night we took a step to give even greater flexibility with our middle school dress code that I think is going to be very well received by I know it will by our students, but by our parents as well. And so just like I said, over the years, there's been talk about that. We've given greater flexibility as the years have gone on. Our middle school principals just recently approached us about adding more flexibility to that, just with changing of times and really with changes that have happened around us over the last several years. For instance, one of the reasons that we supported this was, in elementary schools, you don't have a very restrictive dress code. They're elementary students. Yeah. In our two middle schools, we had a very restrictive dress code. But then when they go to high school, when they leave us, they really don't again. So, the 2 years or the 3 years of middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at our 2 middle schools was really the only time that they had to do something like this with the dress code. So anyway, long story short, we made some changes last night. We no longer have restrictions on colors with either pants or shirts, tops. It can be any type of color, any pattern, stripes, and that's different for us. We've never had that before. We also now can wear jeans. Our students can wear jeans, and that is different for us. We haven't had that before, other than dress down days and those sorts of things. So we thought it was important to keep a certain amount of restriction to where we still had a good learning environment and where we didn't have distractions during the school day and that sort of thing. So we think we've done that as well when it comes to writing or symbols and pictures. We don't allow those kind of things on any of the clothing. So a student just couldn't wear any T-shirt with just any message on that shirt. We still don't allow that. We haven't allowed that in forever. And so that's still in place. And of course, students have to be covered, and we've got specific guidelines for that. But so it's going to give our students a lot more freedom to express themselves, so to speak. And so, like I said, I think many of our parents, most of our parents probably will be happy with this. And I would probably say 100% of our middle school students will be pleased with this.
I'll bet they will.
Yeah, pretty big deal. So we're gonna start communicating that in the coming days. This is for next year, by the way.
That unanimous decision?
It was unanimous. Yes, it was unanimous, and it is for next year. So it doesn't start today or tomorrow or next week. So that was all the business, but we had several reports last night that I'll make you aware of. So I started talking about the budget process. And in our school district, because we're a special school district, budget process runs a little later for us than it would a typical county school district, but we're ramping that up just a little bit just because of my departure that you mentioned earlier. So we've been having budget meetings with everybody that has a budget within the district. And when I say we, I typically do that by myself with everybody that has a budget. But Mr. Hutto, the incoming director of schools that will take over July 1, has joined me in those meetings. And so we're having a good budget process going through, just evaluating where we are currently with all of our budgets, where we stand, and then looking towards next year. And so that's been a good process.
Is there, I mean, you have so much money to work with, and each school needs to get their share, and no doubt each principal is looking out for his or her school, but is there a lot of, is it hard to come by? How difficult is getting that budget and having, how many principals you got? Seven. All 7 principals fairly happy.
Yeah. So that part is pretty simple. Schools get X amount of dollars, and so that's in place that we give them. So much from the state. We add to that as a district, so we send them monies throughout the year, and it's set in stone what we give them. So that's not the issue really. And the other pieces to the puzzle, quite frankly, Coleman, it's not rocket science. It's spending less, hopefully, than what your revenues show when they come in. So we project revenues every year. We really never know that. We project revenues from both property taxes in the Lebanon Special School District as well as Wilson County, and then from the local option sales tax. And we do a really good job. We've gotten good at that over the years of hitting that very close. Matter of fact, looking at our revenue report last night with the board, we hit 100% of our Wilson County property tax projections. So, we hit that almost right on the nose. Now, we'll have a few more revenues trickling in, but not a whole lot on the property tax. Most people have paid their property tax, so we won't get a whole lot more there. And with the local option sales tax, that's been strong all year. It's been strong really for several years, and we think that trend will continue.
You don't take total advantage, or you you guess a little lower on that, just to be
We
safe.
do. We do. You're correct. We always project a little low on all of our tax revenues. It's better to project a little lower and come in and hit 100% than to project higher and not hit it, and then have to dip into fund balance to finish the school year. So we always like adding to the fund balance at the end of the school year. But to my point of my budget meetings, meeting with the instructional team and the technology team and maintenance, the nurses, on and on and on, everybody, transportation, everybody that has a budget, and then setting that budget for next year. But the tricky part comes in the coming weeks when I get with our finance director, Pam Jones, and we put our projected expenditures and we match them with our projected revenues. And obviously those have to meet, and if they don't, we have to adjust a little and cut the budget and those kind of things.
What's inflation going to do to you in budget preparation this year?
Yeah, so everything costs more. So we just to give you an example, we talked about diesel fuel last night. I had a question from one of the board members about transportation and fuel, and so I had my budget folder with me and I pulled it out. So this school year, for instance, we projected $70,000 in diesel fuel that we would go through. Well, we're going to exceed that. We're just under that right now, and we haven't been billed for everything to this point, and we're still not finished with the school year yet. So we're going to go over 70. So looking at next year, the recommendation from transportation has been that we move that number to 85. From 70,000 to 85,000. That's just one example of adjustments that we have to make. Of course, we'll do that with everything. We'll do that with electricity and water and
Food for the cafeteria?
Food. Well, cafeteria runs on its own budget, so that's not part of GP. They have the cafeteria fund, but they have to do the same thing. But our cafeteria, our nutrition supervisor monitors and keeps up with her budget, but that's part of our overall budget, so we do have to approve that. I approve that as well as the board. But yeah, that's part of the puzzle. You can't go anywhere today, Coleman, and pay what you paid a year or two ago.
You're right.
So all that factors in. But yeah, we'll be working on that in the coming weeks, and in June. For us, we'll have budget amendments in our board meeting, and that will be towards the end of June. Actually, that'll be June 28th. And we'll update the board and have a lot of information about our next school year's budget. But our board won't officially approve the budget until July 20th. Actually, I will be gone by then, but hopefully before July 1, we'll have the budget almost in place and ready to roll for Mr. Hutto and the board to approve there in July.
What about teachers for next year and the hiring, or
that's what I was going to go into
might
next.
Be leaving and others want to come, and you're working with that, I guess.
Yeah, we are. Great question, and that was what I updated the board on next in my director's report last night. The question came up, and I don't know the exact number, but the question: how many teachers do we have retiring this year? And it's really not a lot, maybe 6 or 7 across the district. We thought probably they would be more than that. There still may be a few trickle in, but we're not aware of many more. But here's the kicker to that, Coleman. When we look at our numbers, our projected student enrollment numbers for next year, and we do that every year about this time. Actually, we did it in early April. And what we do is we just take our first grade numbers for this year in each school, and we bump those up to the second grade, and then we add a little growth. But when we bump those numbers up, really without even, before we put some growth projections in there, the funny thing about this, students don't come in pretty packages of 20, the ratio that we need to have in K-3 average. Right. So when we bumped our numbers up, Coleman, that caused us to add 12 additional teaching positions across the school district for next year. That has never happened in my time as superintendent, and I can assure you it didn't happen before I was superintendent.
You're going to need 12 additional teachers
than we have today.
Plus replacing those who are retiring.
That's correct. That is correct. That's not even counting the ones that we're replacing. Those are new positions because of staying within student-teacher ratios, and so that's a big hit on the budget.
So you're in and on the budget, and you're in hiring mode.
That's correct. But I'll tell you, we've hired most of our teachers. We like to get ahead of the game on that, and we typically will post teaching positions early April. And I think we may have a couple out there right now, but we've done the major part of our hiring for next year, not only to replace the people that are leaving for whatever reason, but also those new positions that we just mentioned.
Well, those things go on, and the average person probably doesn't think a lot about that. I don't think a lot about some of the internal things you have to do to keep things going, but you have to stay ahead of the curve.
Have to stay ahead of the curve. Yeah, I didn't mention raises. Our board has always looked at raises first, and we will continue to do that. So made the board aware last night that we have projected out anywhere from 2% to 5% this year looking at raises. That helps keep us in the top tier of school districts across the state when it comes to paying teachers. Hey, let me bring up something. I notice we just have a couple of minutes. You'll find this interesting. Tomorrow is a really big day in our community. It's a Lebanon History Day for the Lebanon Special School District. And what that means, our fifth grade students across the entire district will be participating in Lebanon History Day. So the folks down at the City of Lebanon, Kathleen Vale was instrumental in this, we have partnered with several organizations across the city, and I'm going to name them. And our fifth graders are going on a field trip tomorrow. It'll take all day. They'll be on buses going back and forth. The Lebanon History Museum is involved in this. The Fight Fessenden House is involved. Cumberland University, Fiddler's Grove, as well as the Veterans Museum and Archives. And so we've had the folks that run these organizations and the historical people across the city have been meeting for several months. We first started this in September meeting, and then we've met just about monthly or every other month since then. A lot of work has gone into this with these organizations, and we're very appreciative that they've put in the work, and they have lesson plans and activities planned for our fifth graders. And the weather's going to be great tomorrow. We've been concerned about that for several months because that would have been a hardship if we had rain or something like that on the date. But it is tomorrow, and we're excited about that. Our teachers and students are excited, and our different historical places that I just mentioned, those folks are really excited for our students to come. So a great day of learning local history and learning about their community. I mentioned Cumberland, and Cumberland's also feeding all of our fifth graders tomorrow. So it's a full day of a field trip here in Lebanon, Tennessee, looking at the history of Lebanon from all these perspectives. And so that's an exciting day.
Great day for those fifth graders.
Yeah, sure is.
Well, we are out of time. Thanks for being with us. See you next month.
Be here.
Scott Benson, and that is part 2 of Coleman and Company. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. And until then, I wish you a terrific day.